the thing.
Mm.
So I thought we'll have it by the end of last week. By today, by Friday, I was hoping to have it all recorded because it was all ready.
Yeah.
And then the freaking thing dies. So that will be a next week job then, basically. Well, I'll start recording again tomorrow, and then yeah, hopefully by the end of the week we'll have recordings of that, and then after that we'll have module 2 of disintegration. We've just been working on getting the render right, and obviously we want to, since USD is new to everyone, we're sort of working with, a lighting artist who's experienced with USD, and we're trying to get it to look good so that we can basically show you guys not just, oh, here's my render settings, but actually here is like the logic of how to lay out the USD scene in a really like good way to work, for like small studios and things. So that's why we're kind of like making sure we get the render right and solve all those potential problems.
Yeah.
Then do the lessons based on them, so that we're giving you guys like up-to-date information. And we'll do that for all of the effects. There'll be 2 modules. So there's essentially, it's like, you can think of it basically like 2 departments. It's the effects department and then the lighting and comp department, right? We'll record those 2 separately. So I'll finish the effect, then we work with the lighting artist, and then once he's done and everything is right, we clean up the scene, and then we teach that part as
All right,
well.
let's get this
So
party
all of them, there'll be 2.
All right, let's get
at
this
least for
party
film
started.
effects, but
Yep.
maybe for others as well.
Are we gonna do the webinar for the bubble bomb next week then? Next Friday? Is that
can do? Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. We can do.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I can show. I mean, like I said, I probably will even be done recording it by then. But regardless of where we are, if I'm just wrapping up or if it's already finished, we can do a webinar to kind of like discuss it, give you guys a bit of a preview, field some questions.
Yeah, I'm gonna show just a small chunk of it today, and that's because that part includes the master exploder toolset, which is the smoke burst and everything. So I'll show how that was done. But yeah, I think I would like to see I would like to see a webinar on the bubble bomb. It looks awesome. It's gonna be great.
Yeah, we can do it next week for sure.
Sweet. I think Crazy E said the connection is bad. Is it bad on me or just on Corbin? Bad in general? Good from here. It's good for me. It's fine. Crazy, man, it's you, man. It's not us. Sweet. Okay, I think Ava told me we have this thing where if you give a referral link to somebody, so if you refer our courses or our website and then somebody purchase a workshop through your link, you get 20% off and they get 20% off. And we got it finally working, I think. I think Ava has a few links for you guys. So in case you have a friend who wants to join our workshops, and you go to your dashboard on Teachable, you go to your dashboard and it's a tab called Refer a Friend, and then there's a special link. If you give your friend that link and he gets a workshop, you will get 20% off, and I think they will get 20% off. Is that how? I think that's how it works, Ava, right? But there's also documentation. If you're not sure how it works, there is on your dashboard, you can click, oh, show me how it works, and there are screenshots on how it actually works. So it's quite convenient. So it helps us, but it also helps you and it helps your friend. So in a way, we're all happy. It's a win-win. So it's all good. Sweet. I think that's all I had to. That was the only big announcement that I had. The other one is it's actually my birthday. I don't know if I keep forgetting about it, but today's my birthday. And
happy birthday.
Thank you. So Ava made me a drink. It might contain alcohol. So maybe maybe by the end of this webinar, we don't know what's gonna happen. Nobody knows. But
Well, I'm drinking a birthday beer as well because mine was
cheers.
the other day, and
yeah,
so
yeah.
cheers.
Well, wait, when was your birthday? Was like 2 weeks ago, right?
16th.
Yeah, we're quite close.
So it's like yeah. But a friend was not able to come to the party because he cut his thumb and he was in the hospital.
Damn.
So then he came by afterwards yesterday and dropped off some beers as a gift. So that's why I'm drinking birthday beers
Today. Yeah, I think it's appropriate.
today.
I think it's fine.
Yeah, to celebrate your birthday.
Yeah, exactly. All right. So what we're gonna do is, I'm gonna try something different. So I'm gonna start sharing my screen, and I pre-recorded. Okay, I pre-recorded. It's 35 minutes long, but it's a full overview of the tool set. But the reason why I pre-recorded it is because I knew that Ava's gonna give me a drink with alcohol, so I didn't want to mess anything up. So it's gonna be so I pre-recorded it, and it's actually more clean than if I was stumbling just around. So I'm gonna start sharing my screen. And I literally just finished pre-recording it. So it's almost like if I was doing it live. It's the same thing. And if you guys have questions, I can then actually answer them on the spot. So I'm just trying this out. Because even like when we do like SIGGRAPH or GDC or FMX presentations, I'm always thinking, why don't we just pre-record that? You know, like I have to, like I'm nervous for 2 weeks prior to the presentation. But if I knew that it was already recorded and it was good to go, and the only thing I had to do was introduce myself and then play the recording, and then after the recording you get questions and you answer questions, then what's the difference? It's the same thing, right? The only thing is, in one scenario I'm super calm, and in the other one I'm nervous as hell because I have to do a live 1 hour presentation. So I'm just gonna be pre-recording all of my presentations. Yeah, it's smart.
There were a couple of the talks at FMX that did exactly that, and those were the ones that worked the best.
It works.
Like Jonas's
the
one.
What was the invisible CGI, right? Yeah.
Invisible CGI, yeah. It was a good one.
Mm-hmm. All right, let me start sharing my screen. And let me know if you hear the audio and if everything works as well. Share my screen. Screen 1. Just quickly let me know if you hear the audio from the... All right, let's get this party started.
Yep.
All right, then let's get this party started. Welcome to the Master Exploder toolset overview. Let's see, where do we start? So, because Corbin's computer died, we're now doing this instead. So this is not cleaned up and was never intended to be shown yet, but well, here we are. How do we do that? How do we give you guys more volume?
It might be on our end that we can control it. If you click on the 3 dots on the thing, there's a stream volume, but I think that's on the listener's end.
Yeah, I think everybody can right click on the screen and turn up the volume.
Yeah. I think by default it just puts stream volume low, but yeah, you can increase it.
Yeah. This is funny listening to myself, and yeah, it's weird, but I think it's gonna work. Actually, I think I did a mistake in this recording, if I remember correctly. So just so you guys know, I made a mistake while recording it. It's fine. So this is the render that I've made. Nothing special. Is this showing? Yeah. Look at that. Look at that camera shake. This is the render with our custom shader. Well, I say custom shader. It is a custom shader, but you know, we didn't build it from scratch or anything like that. I'll I'll show it to you guys. I just like knowing where everything is, and if I need to change something, it's there. And it's also XPU, built for XPU with Material X. So, and this is using all of the, this is only made with the Master Exploder toolkit. So let's see, where are we? I'll just do a quick overview of this before we dive into the individual tools, but we have the source, we have the attributes, source, sim, no, and attributes. That's what we have. So let's see. Maybe for some of them, it's going to need to initialize. You don't need to because I cached you. So this is the cache of the sim. So it's pretty cool, and it's quite fast. Honestly, these caches take no time to sim. So we make our shapes, and then I'll let it initialize, but just in the first frame. And I'll do another cache here. So I'll just cache this out. So it's quite fast, and you get a super unique and also kind of controllable emitter that's quite art directable. So look at that. It's a lot of points, and we are using grains as the base, but it's pretty cool. Okay, so it's still the same. I didn't change anything. So this is one layer to this effect, and then we push this through the source attributes, which for some reason are not working anymore. Maybe they are on this side. No, they are not. MX source attributes, like this here. There we go. So we have the attributes. We can visualize things. In this case, I'm going to visualize age. I'll show you this. I'm going to go step by step. I'm just giving you a quick overview. And then with this, we can do the trailing. So trailing, after this gets trailed and rasterized, we get our emitter, which looks like this. And then we put this through the stop net. This is nothing crazy inside. Literally nothing. Just gas the SERP and turbulence. And we cache it out. Look at that. So that's then the sim. And if you want to get complex results, why are you simulating? Stop it. Stop it. You don't have to do anything.
It's always simulating.
So yeah, if you want to get complex results, you do multiple passes. So you can see this is almost a one-to-one duplicate, but just like 6 times. The other one is this. So these are more the singles, and I would usually do 2 or maybe 2 or 3 versions of the singles. I think let me make this a bit bigger. I'm so sorry. So yeah, these would be the singles. These are the bigger chunks like that. And to these ones, we're still experimenting with this, but I also applied rotation to the grains and also positional noise. So it creates quite cool results. More I wouldn't say unique, just more organic results that kind of mimic real life more, because particles would be spinning. That's why in the toolset currently we only support grains, but we're gonna do point. It's gonna be a fake point simulation, and also RBD. It's gonna be included in this. Where was I? Oh yeah, this is still kind of gonna go inside of one of them. But if we go here, the rotate grains, we're doing all of this stuff. Let's see what I was doing here. So yeah, this is the most simple version of this. Let me see. So you can see just boo, everything's rotating, great. And then also apply positional noise. So positional noise, if we don't rotate anything, it's just gonna be like whoop, 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 whoop. And this in this case might be a bit too much, but honestly, sometimes you need this. And then you just multiply down with life scale or age or whatever, because you'll see. But we do get age attributes out of the tool, and then yeah, you can rotate, or in this case, this one has a bit more masking done to it, so it rotates, but then they die off, and only a few of them rotate, and the big chunks don't rotate. So doing stuff like that we are still implementing. That's why this is in beta, and that's why I was not planning on recording this yet. It's fine, because the tool does work. And then there's another, nope, stop calculating, stop it. And there's another version of this, which is like that, or rather, I think I cached, I added some more rotation to this one. So this one gets covered, all of them get covered by the main explosion, which is here. So you can only see just the trails coming out of this, right? So we have this, and then we also have the shockwave. Bam. Cool. And the shockwave is done with the toolset as well, just with a different preset. So that's how it looks like. It's pretty cool. So you can do, I would say, once we have all the features implemented, this will enable you to do 95% of all of your explosions without the need to do any custom work.
It's true.
So it's going to be really fast, super efficient, and it's going to look freaking awesome. That's the whole point. Look at this emitter. Look at this.
Yeah, look at that emitter.
There's no way you
awesome.
can get a better emitter. And that really gives you like super detailed, where is it? Super detailed shapes, and you can do so much to it. You can retime it, because now all of your explosions are based on that emitter. So you don't need to do hacky ways of speeding up your sim, slowing it down, anything like that. You can create, I'll show you in a second how we use this on the bubble bomb, and how you can create more of that anime blast feeling. Even though you'll see, I was using some hacks, but honestly, just the emitter alone, like once you retime it, look at that shape.
Yeah, it's good shape.
And this is great for avalanches as well. So if you would have a snow avalanche, just use grains and push it down. This would work super nice. But yeah, look at that. Cool. So, and yeah, the main, just gonna show you the main. Looks like that. So it's more directional. And then I don't think I was retiming it here, but I really should. I should have. So yeah, we're still debating if we should add our custom retimers here. So like just a quick tool to retime and scale afterwards. We'll see. Still tweaking stuff, but
yeah, maybe
but you can see with grains, you get a lot of these singular points, but you also get these chunks, and that's super organic. And honestly, you can just use grains, this sim, as a layer that you render then with your explosion, and it would totally work. It would give it so much more realism and, you know, that grittiness that explosions usually lack. What else do we have here before I dive into the tool set? Pushing it through this, I think we're going to call this Explosivo, but I think this one is the right one. Just adding some stuff to it. Come on. Yeah, just a visualizer.
Honestly. You can use the Pyrobake as well.
But it's a nice visualizer. I like it. It's very simple. And then to render this, I was pushing this here. Very, very noisy. Don't do things like this, but I was really just quickly trying to render this. But if I go to here, and this is our XPU shader, kind of looks like this. This is the base version. I have one that has even more stuff added to it. Like suit layers and just more masking stuff. You'll see. This one has the suit mask, but in this case, it doesn't work. But on the other version, it does. So XPU looks quite good. Let's see if I do a quick render of this here. So we're on the CPU. So CPU is still very fast if you don't have anything else and it's just the explosion. As soon as you put in the I'm gonna put the background in. No, not the background? Yes, the background. And then it starts emitting light and stuff like that. It gets a lot slower, and then you add other volumes and it gets even slower. XPU super fast, but the CPU still looks a bit better. And with the CPU, you still get the light and stuff for free. So look at that, looks great. Does look pretty good. I kind of want to go closer.
Super
to this,
crunchy.
But... so crunchy. Anyway, yeah. That's that. That's the rendering part. Super simple, nothing special about it. Okay, let's actually get to the toolset. So this is how it was used here. This is the simple version of the toolset, which is a bam. So let me actually let's freaking MX. So first we need the source shape. And then I'll put all of them down just so we have them. MX source sim, and then we need MX source attributes. There's gonna be, I think there's a bug still in some of these ones that Corbin already fixed, but I don't have the newest version yet. And it's saving the project. Okay, come on, we can do this. Come on, people. Stop doing stuff. Let's go to the first one. Houdini sometimes just starts cooking something randomly from here because, yeah.
I'll fast forward this.
Anyway. Source shape. That's how it looks like. And that's what I wanted to do. Remove this guy. Okay, source shape. This is where we determine our shape, obviously. Let's put on a grid. Grid as collision. And then just gonna push this down a bit. So it's gonna collide with our grid. So even this alone is gonna work. So I will leave it at this right now and I'll come back to it. Put it in the source sim. It's gonna initialize the grains. It's gonna, and bam. So that's kind of the base, right? Once we have that, you plug in, and we're gonna have multiple presets. I don't know where, yeah, simulation type. This is, like I said, RBD, pops, and no sim approach. And then here, we're gonna have presets, and we're also gonna have collections where, you know, you type in skadoosh and it's gonna give you a very cool preset, or you type in a nuclear explosion, master nuke, right? And it's gonna give you a nuke explosion, or just big smoke, small smoke, any type of smoke simulations or stuff like that is gonna be included. Where was I? Okay, so we have this, super, great, done. Then we put it into the attributes. You'll see nothing changes, but the attributes are actually creating. Also, we need a ground on our collisions. Just gonna put this down. Okay, so we have this, and now we need to visualize stuff. Now I'm gonna visualize age. And in this case, we have this negative ramp. I'll talk about this later. We don't need it for now. So visualizing age, so it goes from this dark blue to orange, but what I actually usually do is not black body, but grayscale, and I invert it. So when it's alive, it's like, it's white, and then it goes to black. Just my preferred way of visualizing it. So you can see we have some randomness to it. We're gonna go here to live. I'm gonna turn live variance to 0. And you see we still have randomness, and that's because we have this noise. You can turn the noise off, so now it's going to be linear. I'll leave it like this for now. The preferred workflow is after the sim, you actually cache it. So you cache the sim. Maybe 100 frames is too much for this demo. Just go to 50. Leave it at 50. So you cache your sim so you can scrub, and now here you can do stuff to it. And the main part of the source attributes is the trailing. So this is where we create the trails. And this is also where we create the basic trails or the pump trails. The pump trails are going to come from this side, which they're off right now because we need to go to the pump to enable it. So if you enable this, we're gonna have pump. So we go, this should be red and this should be blue. And if we look at them together now, I think the other way. Still not that visible. I think my pump by default is too long. But yeah, we have these ones and then the pump, and you can see the pump is always going to be longer in both directions. And then you can also say, well, because you're a pump and we want you to still push all the velocities out very gently so we don't create mushrooms. That's why we implemented this pump here. We then also on the pump can say, well, just live a bit longer, and it's going to live longer than than our main trails. So let's put this aside. But just so you know, this is where the pump is created. We're not going to use it for now, just going to disable it. So we have this, and we don't have any, you can see we have age, ID, life, rest, all of the attributes we can use to do other stuff with if we wanted to. But what we really want in this case is attributes. So I'm going to create two attributes. One is going to be density, and the other one is going to be temperature. So we have density, temperature, and now we do rasterize attributes and density and temperature 0.1. There we go. So we have that, and in most cases there is not enough points, so you get these ugly stepping happening here, and that the whole point of creating trails is to remove the stepping. So what you can do is just interpolate, and now the stepping is going to be gone. Maybe 10. So it's really gone. All right, good stuff. Let's make the trails a bit longer. Okay, so that's the base setup, and then you plug this into your PyroSim. So you can see what I like to do is I think, and I truly believe this, that just through the emitter alone, you can art direct your explosion. So if you look at this as our emitter has to look like a cool explosion already. And this will drive the main core shapes. It's going to be 70 to 80% of your shape for your explosion. And just through that, you're going to be more calm while making explosions, because not everything is going to change. You're going to have more visual consistency when you change your resolutions. So this is going to be an essential step. And it doesn't matter what solver you're using. If you're using Pyro, Axiom, or whatever is going to be developed in the future, this is going to be the backbone of all of your sims. All right, let's get back to the source shape. So yeah, at the top, we have this direction bias. So it does exactly what you would expect it to do. It's going to give us the directionality on to which we want our explosion to point at. And then we can also taper this like that. And you can see it's actually tapering the direction, not just reducing the noise. We can do the scale influence by default, or just input this scale ramp here like that. Put this back, scale ramp, just put this to 1. So we have this. And so directionality bias, we have 2 noises. I'll just, it's just to give you more flexibility, but one is the big noise and then you have the small noise. see what's, yeah, so that's that. And then under spike, I think the directionality bias is awesome. Like the way it actually changes the direction instead of just tapering, it really helps. And then Corbin is also developing some other stuff where it's gonna reflect. So if it's colliding with something, it's gonna kind of bounce away from the collider, which is, I think it's gonna be cool as well.
For anyone who's more technically minded, you should check out the code inside to get
the cone,
the direction bias.
Yeah.
It was quite a fun challenge to get that to work, but I think it's pretty cool actually. Obviously, I'll talk about it when we do the like a breakdown video of how to build it, and I'll explain the logic. But if you are more that way inclined, you can just have a look, and it's quite fun. And yeah, and the reflection thing, we already have a version that does work, but it's a little bit slow. So I'm trying to optimize it before we implement it because we want these tools to be like quick, so you can drag it around and just see the shape changing, not like have to wait. So anyway,
yeah, it's gonna be awesome. It's so cool because Corbin keeps sending me updates, and I keep playing with it, and then I'm like, oh, but can you add this and this? And then can we also do this? And then now we have a full roadmap. And now I think Fabian was saying, oh, can we do flip? Can we include like a flip version of this? And I'm like, yeah, that's actually a good idea to have, like, just use as many Houdini solvers as possible, because they do actually, they give really nice results when you start using them for explosion emitters. So yeah, it's gonna be awesome. It's cool. You can either add custom spikes. It's not it. Custom spikes. This is also cool. Adding your own spikes like that. There you go. Spike like that, and then you can do the radius. So now you can really art direct the direction of your explosion. Yeah. So you can see that's just, even this just looks awesome, right? So we have that, and now, yeah, even this one looks like an anime explosion. Like I was just looking at, there's an anime called Kaiju number 8, and there's a scene where they literally have this, almost like this exact shape for explosions. So if you put this in your pyro sim, this is the shape you're gonna get, and it's gonna look very much like an anime explosion. With the spikes, we can control the sharpness and the kind of the blur, the radius. We can add custom spikes. So you can see that's gonna just make random spikes, and then with that we can change the seed. You can change how many spikes do you want to make. And even that's gonna give us some very cool results. And you can see where the spikes are living, and even for the main one, we get this. Noise for the spikes, quite self-explanatory. I'm not going to go into that. And then these are the custom spikes. You can also create more of them here, and there's also a handle for them. So you can create them outside, or you can create them here on the inside. So a lot of, I think there was a bug, Corbin, when I turned this off on this point, it also stopped doing the, like it disabled this point as well. For some reason, different options for that.
That is on purpose, because originally was like those are custom points. It's just you're either feeding them in or you're adding them on the tool. They still count as the same category of custom points. But if you want them to be separate, so they've got toggles so you can switch them on and off separately, I can add that. But the idea was, no matter whether you're using an add SOP or like scattering points, or just basically feeding points in, or just adding them on the tool, they both are sort of custom points. So you just have a single toggle to switch them on and off.
Oh, okay.
We can obviously discuss. In fact, I was going to say, people that are using it, once you guys start using it, please do give feedback, because once we figure out how people are using it, I can rearrange and rename things and split things and basically improve the functionality of it. So
Yep, sounds good. Okay, so, and then the last one is you can input the position of your emitter. So that's going to be very useful for, you can imagine you want your inputs, and then you can create a carpet bombing or stuff like that. So good stuff. That's that. Then the sim has all the features you would expect from a grains simulation. The most important ones, I'm not going to bore you with this, but you can turn on the glue constraint if you want. And it's going to give us pretty cool results. Let's see, glue constraint. Usually this has to go higher. Too high. 4. Come on. And then in most cases, we need to change then the saving again. 5. So that's going to give us more fleshy type results. I like it. It's kind of cool. See, it's kind of tearing up like that. And then what you can do is you go under attributes, velocity, just turn on the velocity. It's going to really break it apart. Look at that. But I think now the glue is too strong. But you can see like creates some very cool stuff with this. Okay, glue constraint, it's going to turn that off. We get back. So we have this. The most important attribute here is the attraction weight. So if we go under advanced, sources, attributes, attraction weight, and we need to visualize it so we can see how it looks. And we can visualize at rest, so it doesn't, it's still gonna simulate, but it's gonna, let's say for speed, it's gonna visualize the speed. As things slow down, you're going to be able to see it. Or we even have this depth attribute. So I'm going to reduce this back to default. But when things collide, when particles collide with the ground, I really put all the wrong values in to showcase this. So when they explode and when they start falling back and colliding, they're gonna start dying. So you can see they're gonna slowly start becoming blue and then orange, which indicates that they are completely dead. So, and we're doing that because a lot of times when a chunk falls down, you want the temperature to slowly start eroding. Otherwise, the temperature would still go off. But that's just like, yeah. In a lot of cases, these ones would be dead already, but just in case, if there's chunks that fall on the ground, they're slowly going to start dying. Okay, good stuff. I go back. So visualize attraction weight. It's quite random right now, so we're going to go here, noise, and random. So we still want this. Going to put this back to 1, and noise, put the amplitude up, and element size like that. So now our chunks are gonna be more chunky because the noise is smaller, right? So that's the attraction weight. I'm not gonna go through that. Depth, we have also mass and then velocity. Very, very cool thing with velocity. If you put it to input, if you normalize it, it's just gonna blast it like that. It just looks awesome. And I think in a lot of cases, this would be great for a nuclear explosion. And all right, so we have that, and then we file cache, and like before, we have the trail. I think with the trail, I went through most of the things except for the fade by age. So if we go to the volume rasterize, we have the fade by trail, and you can also invert it, and then fade by age. So this is fade after death. That's the death attribute that we were looking just now. But then fade after fade by age is, when based on this age. Oops. For some reason, the attribute needs to. Oh yeah, no, it was fine. So fade by age. So by this point, it's black. So we are not going to have any volume rasterization happening. And then what you want to do on this edge, and again, visualize at rest is your friend here. We want to add edge attributes. Noise. Yes. Gonna add 1. Look at that. So they die like that. Don't want to visualize at rest anymore. So now these chunks are going to be dead. These chunks are going to be still alive. And that will give us a more random result and just more organic. So not everything dies or, you know, at the same time. So it's not linear. That's the gist of it. That's the base. That's these are the core features of the tool. So it's super fast, super efficient to create good looking explosions. Now, the other thing I quickly wanted to show you guys was how we use this on the bubble bomb. Gonna go out. Damn, I should have done a preview, right? I think I have a preview. Just give me a second. Okay, so this is one of the previews, but when the bubble implodes, it creates this blast of smoke, right? So it looks quite cool. And then there's like chunks falling down. I feel like this could be even more punchy, to be honest, and much bigger. So I'll try to redo this later. That's how it looks like. So when we reduce the density, it actually looks decent. But yeah, the way this was used, this was still an early version of the tool, but here are the, do I still have? Ah, damn, I don't have the caches anymore. Why is that? Okay, we're back. I don't know, like it's the caches, I had to restart Houdini. For some reason, the caches were not picking up. I don't know what happened, but we have them now. Caches just stopped working, but they're back. So we have this, which is the more chunky one. So it's poof, so it explodes like that, falls down. Another one, which is more of a spray one. So again, this would work great for an avalanche as well. And then this is the main explosion, which is much more aggressive. It explodes fast, much faster, but with the source attribute, it kills it quite fast. So there's only a few frames of this that we actually use. So you can see it dies off super fast. So this is the main explosion. And like I said before, if we quickly preview this with the toolset, you can quickly decide how fast your emitter should be. So the initial blast speed and shape. So, so you can see it's quite fast. And then because this is quite big, it slows down quite fast as well. And for the slowing down, I use this gentle damp. So it's going to dampen the velocity. And you can animate this as well. So I'm using a hack here. Like I said before, I am using a hack, but honestly, if I would prefer to just retime the emitter, it would be much better. But I was using this, if you go inside twice, you can put down this gas repeat solver. And then with this, you can animate how many times you want this to repeat everything. So it's just gonna make things more explosive at the beginning. And then with the damp, you can say, well, when you're 20, when the speed is 20, nothing goes above 20. So this is gonna slow down the simulation quite a bit. 20 is too much, and I'm also using very low density here. So it's like, poof, and then it's gonna slow down. So that with this, you can create very cool anime punches, right? Because that's what usually happens in anime. It's like super fast and then it slows down. But I think capping it at 80 was fine. 80 was fine, and I think I did a high-res version of this. Look at the density. So a quick sim. Preview. So yeah, quite fast. And don't I don't. I know like these spheres might seem too much right now, but honestly, once you put the shader on, especially if you put a cloud shader on top, it looks pretty decent. Once you get all the absorption and volume to once the volume is rendering properly, it looks fine. And by this point, yeah, it looks fine. So it really punches it out. But yeah, so yeah, Pyro, I'm using Pyro here. And even with this, let's go to 3. I think even 3 was still quite fast. And I'm also using... I think I was using 2 substeps. Yeah, on the actual main sim, I was using 2 substeps. But even this, yeah, it's quite fast to sim, honestly. It's not that bad. It's quite a lot of voxels as well, and it looks decent. I'm using just... I'm using my own turbulence. I'm gonna show this, in the workshop as well, and also like I'm gonna do a quick. I'm gonna call this. We're gonna call this the Skadoosh Pyro Helpers. So it's gonna be the gradient mask, custom turbulence velocities, the velocity dampings, these ones, so the gentle and the brutal damp, and then this custom turbulence. This is literally how the turbulence is built. But now I can add my custom masks to it. So you can do whatever you want. You can add as many masks as you want. Yeah, cool stuff. And then 1 gas disturbance, that's all it was. And then you have, this is the main blast. Main blast. And then we have the second blast, looks like this. This one is cool. I like this one a lot. And like even like this, right? Like that's what I'm saying. It could be an avalanche, and then it falls down and it starts dropping. It's pretty awesome. And then we have another one, which is more chunky, right? So you have this. Again, kind of looks like an avalanche. And then you put all of them together. Bam. It's gonna chug a bit because it's like 80 million voxels. And that's just in the density. It's 80 million. But yeah. And then there's going to be a bunch of other layers. These are just the main layers that I did with the toolset. So yeah, that's it. That's the core overview. Okay, if I missed anything, let me know and I'll try to cover it. All right. That's it. That's the main overview. The toolset is going to be quite simple, but it's going to have all the main things you need to create complex looking explosions. I think that's like we're almost building a factory on how to make explosions. So like I think Elon Musk was saying that building a car is actually super easy, but building a factory that builds cars, that's the difficult bit. So, but I think we have a good first version of this, and then we're just going to be adding more stuff, more features, and I really hope people start using this as their go-to explosion maker, and especially with all the presets and just the ease of use. I think this is going to be pretty awesome to create awesome, quick and awesome explosions. Yeah.
Yep. I mean, we definitely want to think of this as version 1 of many. In fact, it's still in beta. Once I think we'll find a nice stopping point where we kind of do a full release, and then of course I'll continue to dev, but at least I want to make sure that it's stable and has most of the very necessary features before we do a full release. And then obviously we'll keep working on it and have some beta releases as well, maybe some open or closed beta to kind of like get your guys' feedback or test it internally as well to add extra features, and then we'll keep doing releases. So this is something we're not planning on just like, okay, cool, this is an idea and then we're done. We're going to work on this forever and perfect it and add tons of presets as well, and just this needs to be a full toolkit.
Yeah.
And I thought I should maybe mention to you guys some of the features that are coming, just I guess sort of excite you. Um, at the moment, it's mostly based on grains inside for the sim, because we find that that does give one of the best results. But we are going to be building our full suite of different ones, because you get slightly different results. So we're going to be doing an RBD version, because there you get some sort of nice sort of almost rubble feeling, bouncing and rolling and stuff. We're going to do we can do a flip version. We have been sort of thinking about that, and Fabian also mentioned that as well. So yeah, that is definitely something we'll add as a flip version. And then we even want to do a kind of a no sim version that kind of fakes arcs with gravity and stuff, and to get you like really really fast without having to sim. Because maybe, like, let's say you're really far away and you've just got a whole bunch of explosions. You don't really care that they're super detailed and move exactly perfectly, but you still want them to at least feel like they're moving and evolving the same way. So a way to churn out like 100 different explosions with no simulation, we want that option as well. So we're gonna like build in a full suite of different sims inside of that will all be preset up. So you'll basically, that one sim node, you'll just choose your solver, and then it will hide and reveal certain parameters that let you set that. So obviously the glue constraint, there's like a tab for that, but that's only going to work when it's when it's grains. Well, the grains sort of glue. Obviously RBDs will have its own kind of glue. If you do it with flip, there won't be a glue at all. Like it'll. So we're going to have all the solvers built into it. For the shaping tool, we're going to work on getting those like kind of bounce reflection stuff, and see if we can optimize collisions and that type of thing. We're going to build a really really cool. I got some ideas, but we still need to figure out how to implement it across all the tools. But we're going to basically be building a copy to points tool. But what it's really going to do is, at any point in this system, you should be able to insert it. So let's say you create like the shaper tool, like where it just creates all those, the actual explosion shape. You'll be able to copy that to a whole bunch of, maybe like they say there's a plane flying and it just, is releasing a whole bunch of like, bombs, and it's just explode, explode, explode. You'll be able to copy those shapes to your points, but that all of those shapes, if you just feed them as a one geometry into the sim tool, it will handle it and actually let them be simmed and sourced on their own sort of source frame. So you won't have to separate every explosion into its own sim node and its own attributes node. If you want to keep them together, all the nodes in the whole suite will kind of speak the same language and will let you just kind of, it'll treat each incoming explosion as its own one and loop through each one. So that's something we're going to work on. But also, again, if you, let's say, want to get all the way to the explosion and create a bunch of wedges of different explosions and copy them to points, then it will also work as well. So it's going to be one tool that you can essentially insert anywhere, and it's going to let you duplicate parts of the system. Obviously, presets and shelf tools we're going to work on a lot. So we're going to try and make this super user friendly. You'll be able to, like, hit a shelf, choose a place, figure out like what type of explosion, how big your scene is or whatever, and it should just create an explosion for you that's kind of ready to go really quick and easy. And then dynamic clumping is something we're going to work on as well, that within the sims it should figure out which points are close to one another and write some kind of clumping attribute that we can use to drive other things like noise, so that we don't have noise just moving all the points individually, but actually moving clumps or rotating clumps, so that'll be something really, really useful. You can even then separate big clumps from small clumps. So you could do one sim, like one sim node, but then separate that into two different sources, one that is maybe for your fire, and then one that is actually just maybe smoke trails. And so yeah, we've got a lot of ideas of features to add, and then I'm always working on the kind of like the layout of the parameters. If a parameter feels like it's in the wrong place or you have to go searching for it, then it needs fixed, because you just want a tool that actually seems to flow, like that, that the parameters make sense in the order that you find them. So or the way that they're named. If people are confused about what a parameter does, then it needs renamed because it should be intuitive. So that's one of the big things. And at the moment, there's no help for it. So there's no like help browser or like tooltips for any parameters, but that will be added. When I do the full release, of course, I'm going to add all those tooltips because you shouldn't be confused. Yeah. So that's kind of some of the stuff that is coming. Yeah.
Yeah.
Been answering a bunch of questions, but the general idea is we're making this. It's still in beta, so actually my film effects guys at the moment will get the kind of beta version, but we'll keep you updated. So as you're working on it, and we do release new versions and things, you'll get updates. So don't really worry about that. And then with the Ultimate Explosions workshop, it'll be included in there as well. But I think eventually it'll be open to everyone, even if you haven't taken a workshop. And I will be doing workshops, well, like a tutorial series, but it'll be all free. Because I have a plan to do like Vex and Python training essentially for free, like on our YouTube thing. And it's not going to be like a big chunky workshop, but rather like a series of mini videos. Part of that was actually going through tools that we've built and teaching how they work, because of course that's the more technical side. So it includes a lot of Vex and a lot of Python, and even also like how HDAs work and how to so like the kind of pipeline stuff. All of that will be kind of part of that series. So that is definitely in the works. It's planned to come, and eventually every tool we make will have an associated tutorial attached to it, so that if you want to know how it's built and why it's built the way it is, you'll understand all of it. Yeah. I mean, of course, you can just use the tool, but the reason I'm going to make those videos is so that, we might as well turn every tool into a lesson anyway, because then it's kind of more, for the people who are more technical, like, TDs and stuff, they might be more interested in that. So that's kind of one of the reasons I want to do that.
Yeah. I'm also excited for because the way we run DoubleJump, we run it as a studio. Instead of working with clients, we do workshops and we work with individual instructors. But we still need a pipeline, because every workshop we do and we approach it the way we would approach it at a studio, because we all worked in studios. So Corbin is actually building a full pipeline as well for DoubleJump. So eventually we're going to be, hopefully giving that. I don't know how we're going to give it away, but it's for sure going to be in the workshops. Just like tools for managing projects, tools to do better caching, this, and just like tools that we all are used to using in the studio. Yeah.
And my goal with that is, because I know that not only are we essentially operating as though we're a small studio, even if it's workshops as our client, still we're operating like a small studio, and we are all remote from each other. But also I know that a lot of artists that are following this are either freelancers, or even if they're working at a studio, that might be temporary. They might be working there for a while and then move on. So at home, you want your own machine to set up almost as though you are a freelancer / small studio. So what the tools I'm building are to make a flexible pipeline. I've been to a lot of studios where they've got such a rigid pipeline that works for them, of course, but it's like you're so boxed in. And that's obviously not useful. So mostly what we want to do, and it was like this when I was at ILP, like it was honestly the best pipeline I've ever worked with was at ILP. And the reason why is because 90% was just default Houdini. You weren't boxed into like, things that are normal, like caching. Now you have to use some weird node instead of like the default. It was as default as possible. But then things that would take people a long time, they would build a tool to fix that. So it was more like just Houdini, but with extras, rather than like a really custom pipeline, which almost in a way is so difficult, because if you get used to that, you spend 5 years working at that studio, then you move on. You can't do anything. You don't know how to do explosions because you're using some tool that they don't have there. So we're trying to build a pipeline that is super, super flexible, So people in my film effects workshop will already know the scene controls tool that I built. That was a really rudimentary version that I just built for myself, and I've kind of upgraded it a bit for DoubleJump. But in the background now, I'm working on a whole new version of that that is like really flexible. So you guys are able to basically take that, build in your own pipeline, like which folders you want to write to and which variables you need, save it as a preset, and then you literally in every scene you drop it down and it's writing and speaking to all the other tools. They should all use those same variables. So yeah, we're basically trying to build a pipeline that anyone can basically pick up, customize, and then use as their own. Yeah. So that's kind of the philosophy. I mean, even one of the tools similar to what I was talking about with ILP's pipeline, where they used to just build like really interesting, cool things. You know, I just built a new turbulence node, like a turbulent noise node inside of VOPS, because turbulent noise only has three components, where like something like curl noise takes a fourth component, so you can actually have it evolve without sliding. So we've just added that to the turbulent noise. So now turbulent noise has a fourth component, so you can feed it, vector 4 into turbulent noise and have it to have a time component. So then you can have it evolve and change without getting that obvious sort of slow sliding effect that happens. So it's just small but useful tools. And all of it will be released, and all of it will have a tutorial, each one, to explain how it works.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's going to be awesome. Oh, okay. I think if you guys have any other questions, I think we still have like 10 or 15 minutes that we can for Q&A. But I know Fabian was making fun of Pyro for being slow. Pyro is slower than Axiom for sure. But I was actually surprised. I haven't used Pyro in a while, but since working on the workshop for the past few months, I've been only using Pyro. It's not that slow. Like if you optimize it and you don't output velocity and temperature, and you're just simming with density when you're doing iterations, it was still fine. Like it was completely fine. Like even with the bubble bomb, I think one of your first simulations, I think you said, oh, it took like 45 minutes, right? And I was like, feels long. And all the bubble, even though like combined, they had like 85 million voxels. I had a rule that it shouldn't be longer than 10 minutes to sim. Like I just don't accept plus 10-minute simulations anymore. I'm spoiled by Axiom. But I was actually surprised that with Pyro, I was also able to achieve decent sim times. Now, I don't know if they changed anything or maybe it was like this since forever, but I think if you optimize it properly, it was still working fine. But the reason we are using Pyro is with Pyro, you can actually do custom stuff inside with, like microsolvers and gas VOPs and stuff like that. And that just allows me to do like then custom forces and, even creating a custom temperature or a custom turbulence that works specifically on a field and ignores all the other fields, and you use that as your suit layer. You can just do like multiple stuff and things that with because Axiom is kind of locked, and that's why it's also so fast. And I think Pyro has its uses for sure.
I mean, having worked at studios, that a lot of the time studios are slow to adopt third-party tools anyway, unless they really have approved it, or so even at ILP we did have Axiom installed, but it was only you had to like get special permission to get it like set up on your machine or whatever, so that you could use it. And then the farm wasn't set up to use it because they've got custom tools for that, like managing the farm, so then it was failing. And so you often come across problems like that. So as much as Axiom's a cool tool, unless it's fully integrated into a studio, you're better off knowing the default Houdini tools.
Yeah.
It's the same as having a really, really custom pipeline. It's all fine and well until you then try to do something else at home or something, whatever. And so these custom tools are not as good as just sort of basic Houdini. So Pyro it's much more useful in that sense, because at least it's supported by side effects. And then, I mean, I don't think I've like maybe once or twice in my whole career I've had to do like what would be considered a standard explosion or something. Like the amount of custom things you always have to do, something magical or something weird that they want, and the director starts giving feedback. So the more control you have, the better. That's why I'm like, I feel nervous about adopting Axiom too strongly, because then I'm like, okay, it's great for certain things, but then if I need to make a really, really magical custom thing, then
No, I mean,
if I've already spent time developing the effect and now I need to make a change, and it's just not possible within the system. Now I have to restart with Pyro to try and get back to that same point just so I can write some custom solver. I'm like, I'd rather have just started in Pyro.
yeah. I mean, I like Axiom in general, but like I said, since I've been using Pyro for a while, it was honestly not that much slower. In most, like, especially when you go to like big scale sims, it was still kind of doing its job and it was working quite well. But yeah, it is slower in general. But I do think
Mm.
we'll see if side effects decides to update the Pyro solver in the future. But that's why the master exploder toolset, it doesn't matter. Whatever toolset, whatever solver you're gonna use, if it's gonna be a new one, old one, Axiom, Pyro, it doesn't matter. The backbone is always there. That's why we're focusing so much on the emitter side as well. But
yeah, it's got settings so you can output the fields that you need for Axiom. So it does work with Axiom.
Yeah, it works. We
and
already have, if you want Pyro or
Yeah.
Axiom, there's a toggle for both of them. So
And 80% of the work of an explosion is the emitter. Otherwise you get random explosions. I mean, Urban and I have chatted about this many
you
times.
can get lucky and get a
you
very
can get a
good,
really good
yeah.
explosion just using the solver, but then if you tweak anything, it changes a lot. Whereas if you do all the work in the sim, if you do all the work in the source, and you're just basically feeding it into the solver just to create the kind of evolution of the kind of the volume, then you are in direct control over the shape and the timing. And that's what these tools basically are. They're not, I mean, we don't currently have any plans to replace any of the kind of the Pyro stuff. Maybe if we find there's some kind of extra cool tools we can build into the actual solver, then cool, we'll do that. But at the moment, it's all just about the source. And then you feed it into standard Pyro or standard Axiom or just whatever you want. And that's kind of the point of it, is you do all the work using these tools. This helps you get the right shapes and the right motion, the right timing, the right everything, all the right attributes that fade in and out and die off and do everything. And then you just feed it into whatever solver you want and it works.
Yep. Yeah. It's gonna be cool. There was a question if I can define soot. How do you pronounce it? Soot? Soot.
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 Nah. That's such a difficult word. But the soot layer is essentially like it's black smoke, and usually it happens when there's incomplete. What is it called? Not evaporation, but
combustion.
Combustion, yeah. Yeah, Fabian knows. Fabian is watching those videos on YouTube.
Yeah, it's essentially it's fuel that remains, but where the temperature is no longer enough to keep the fuel reigniting and continuing to burn. So it's how they make charcoal. Charcoal is burned wood, but it's not all the way burned.
Yeah.
So then you can burn it again because it's got more fuel left in it, more carbon. So.
Yeah, but then the soot layer is actually, it's going to be a combination of a custom field that is created in the sim, and then we use that field in the shader to either darken everything or actually subtract the scatter field alone. So that leaves those black kind of areas where temperature is almost depleted. So it's going to be, it works. I have a few renders. I'm not, they're okay. I'm okay, happy with them, but I need to tweak it just a bit. But yeah, When I have something, I'm gonna post it on the server so you guys can see. But it looks, yeah, it's gonna work out. But it's a combination between custom field plus shader. That's why I like having a custom shader where I know where things are, and then I'm like, oh, I just need the suit layer, and I need the suit layer to subtract the color and scatter. I can do that, because if you use the vanilla tools, which are great, but when you dive in, there's so many parameters that I'm not familiar with. It's then hard to customize and control. That's why then we have our own tools, to do stuff like that. But cool. Do you have any other questions? Otherwise, I think we're gonna wrap this one up. Wait, Blaž, are you from Slovenia? What is happening? We have a Slovenian in the server. Damn. There's not a lot of Slovenians, but every now and then there's a person that comes up and starts speaking. Like we were at FMX and we met
Yes.
also a fellow Slovenian, and my brain is always just start glitching. I'm like, should I speak in English or should I switch to Slovenian? But yeah, cool. Sweet. Yeah, thanks for the happy birthday wishes, guys. I'm getting so old. Thanks, Fabian.
Cool. Well, I hope you guys enjoy the tools. When they do come out, please keep in mind they are, beta, or even when it's the full release version, that it's version 1. So if you let us know how you're using it, what you find confusing, what you find good, it will actually help shape the tools. We're not designing this for us only. We're designing it so that it is a very comprehensive tool set. So if you actually give us feedback, I genuinely will read all of it, and we'll sort of think about how to make things easier, simpler to understand, for the tool to have those functions embedded in it, or add extra tools that kind of plug into the whole system. So please test them out, play with them, give me feedback, but also be mindful that they're version 1 and that they will get better as well.
Yeah, but it already works. It's fine. Like
it already works.
Tested
Super cool,
and it works.
But yeah, there may be some bits it's like, I think parameters would seem to be in the wrong place or just weird. It's like, that's all in progress.
Also,
so I should actually mention something really super cool, though. I know it's subtle and you don't even see it, but all the way throughout, even when we're doing trailing, point duplication, anything in it, we're fixing and interleaving IDs. So at any point that you cache your geometry, if you load it back in, you stick down a simple retime with set to ID, and it gives you your subframes back. So it's stuff like that we're making sure is implemented in the tools, so there's no hassles with things like caching, and now you lose your subframes and shit like that. So
yeah, and also a big shout out to my explosion guys, because I'm not doing the explosion work. I'm gonna be recording the explosion workshop. I'll be doing a few examples, but I have a full team of people. We're the explosion fellowship of the explosions. Yeah, without them, there's no way I would be able to do all of because even if you look at the current teaser that we have, there's so many examples and so many different scenes we're going to be tackling. And yeah, my explosion guys are just the best. So teamwork is good. So yeah. Yeah, Ayush is one of the explosion guys, and his PC died. But he has a new one now, and he's working. he's back online and operational. But his PC also died. Actually, it's so funny. I think his motherboard died, and that killed his SSD as well. So
Nice.
his PC died first, and then Corbin's SSD failed, and now I'm like, and I'm literally backing up all of my projects just in case, because I'm just like, oh please God, no.
Exactly. The kill count is already 2, so you're next in the. It's like a horror film, and
Mm,
that's Ayush was the first guy that gets killed, and
hmm.
then next it was me. So now you're the last one left. So he's coming
Yeah.
for you.
No, I need my PC, man. There's it would be bad if anything dies, but yeah. Uh, all right, I think that's it. Cool,
All right.
guys. See
Yep.
you
Thanks everyone.
maybe next week for the bubble bomb. We'll see. We'll
We'll
announce
do
it.
a
Yeah,
webinar next
yeah,
week for the bubble bomb. Even if I'm not finished recording, but I should be by the end of the week. Should be finished it, and then I'll be releasing that. But we'll do a webinar to kind of give you a sneak peek and let you ask some questions, and then we'll release bubble bomb. Just to clarify something I said earlier, because some people were asking. So I'm releasing part 1 of bubble bomb. What I mean by part 1 is it's all the effects, all the way even up to Solaris, but my part of Solaris, as in like cashing things out, handing things over, like I would at a studio as an effects artist, would work with the lighting artist, but get to the point where I hand over. Module 2 of each of the effects will come later, which is essentially going through the lighting artist's scene and the comp to show how we took that effect and finished rendering it. Of course, if you've developed your effects in a slightly different way and done your own scene, it's not going to look the same as yours, but then of course you may pick things up. So it's sort of more focused on Solaris and Nuke and that end of the pipeline. But module 1 is the effects, so dev and then shot work and then caching. So that is all module 1. Module 2 will be lighting, rendering, comp.
mm,
That will be for all of the effects. So disintegration, although we're done with it, we're only done with module 1. Module 2 is coming. We're just still busy working on the render to make sure it's optimized and good. Once it's good, I'll clean up the scene and teach that part of it. So module 2 of disintegration is still coming.
hmm,
Module 1 of Bubble Bomb will be probably a week from now.
yeah,
Yeah, maybe a week and a half if I'm really delayed, but mostly should be a week from now. I'll release part 1 of Bubble Bomb. Module 2 of that will come when we finish rendering it nicely so that we can show you how we did it.
yeah,
And then, of course, I'm working then on deving the third effect, which we will then do module 1 and then later module 2. And then, of course, we've got the bonus effects still coming. So there is so much content coming for the film effects people.
yeah. Also, we're
It's
gonna be
basically like a year-long training course. Like,
yeah, and it's so funny because um, initially we thought the whole film effects is gonna be around 15 hours long, but now module 1 is 22 hours long.
module 1 of effect 1 is 22 hours. So yeah, it
So
turned into basically it was our mistake. We really honestly it should have been 3 different workshops. So honestly, in future we're probably going to separate it into 3 different workshops. So for those of you who got in now, you're getting 3 for the price of 1.
well, that's exactly it. That's what I was trying
Yeah.
to say. We're gonna split it in individual workshops, which are so the umbrella is film effects that has 3 individual workshops. And then the guys who bought in now, you essentially bought a bundle, but the bundle
Hmm.
itself is going to be more expensive now just because Corbin recorded just way too much. It's just too long.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's going to be like
it's so
60
much content
hours.
because we go
Yeah,
through everything, the dev, all the custom stuff. We also like I'm showing you the tools and stuff, everything, and then the rendering side. And so it's a fully comprehensive workshop,
yeah,
but times 3, all in one bundle. So everyone who got in now is very very lucky.
yeah. But we didn't know.
Yeah,
It's just how it turned out. It's just bigger
yeah,
than what we
yeah.
anticipated. Yeah,
So I know it's taking a little long for it to all come out, but just um, you know,
mm,
work with us here, guys, because I'm making sure it's good quality. I don't want to give you guys crap. I want to show you every single thing I did and explain why I built it that way, so that you actually learn something from it. Otherwise, I don't want to do just like an overview of my scene. That's not useful to anyone. I want to show you how we build it, all the
yeah,
problems I came across, all the vex, the logic behind it, all of that. And yeah, so it's basically just like it's almost like you've signed up for a year-long training session. Like you're literally just constantly getting new content, and then answering questions and everything. So, and then the toolkit that comes with it and all of that. So yeah, please
There is
stand by, but it is coming.
like this is for everybody who's still here. Thank you so much, and we are gonna be. This is kind of a sneak peek announcement, but we are going to be releasing it's going to be called FX Masters. So it's going to be a 10 months program, one-on-one. So it's only going to be reserved for like 10 to maybe 15 people, because it's going to be 10 months hands-on live program. And in those 10 months, you're going to be working with a super senior ILM FX veteran, and he will essentially work with you every week, every day, 3 calls per week, whatever you guys need. And it's going to be hands-on and very private. And by the end of it, you're essentially going to be left with, you're going to create 3 to 4 unique individual shots, fully rendered, ready for your show reel. So it's going to be very very hands-on. We haven't released it yet, but we're working on it. We're still trying to figure out the pricing, but yeah, that's also coming. But it's going to be 10 months. Like literally, you need to. It's not like our other workshops where you can kind of do other stuff while being on the workshop. This is going to be intense, so you need to be present like all the time, because it's going to have live calls and live components. So I think that's going to be awesome.
It's going to be so cool. Sign me up.
Yeah, and also it's going to be, we're not going to include everyone. So you need to, once we announce it, there's going to be a selection process. So you're going to need to post your show reel, your current work, and then your goals. And then we're going to hop on a call with you and see if this is even the right fit for you. So it's not for everyone, just because, you really need to dedicate the time to do this. So only for the serious people. Yeah.
There's some questions about the level of it. Is it for beginners, intermediate, advanced only?
It's going to be beginner to intermediate, but by the end of it, you will be hopefully like intermediate to you're going to be a good solid FX artist.
Like a solid mid or a key, maybe even a key artist.
Yeah, because you're going to create 3 to 4 shots, fully rendered, FX, compositing, everything. It's the full thing. Essentially, you will create your show reel on this journey. I don't know about the price yet, so you guys tell me what you feel would be fair for something like this. But usually, if you look at some of the other schools, they would charge like 30 to 40K for something like that. We're not going to be even, it's going to be much, much cheaper. Like, we're trying to make it as affordable as possible, but the goal is that by the end, you're going to have a properly good show reel. And you will also have not just a show reel, but also the knowledge to actually join a studio and work at a studio. So, yeah. Yeah, so he said he paid 30K for 8 months. Yeah, it's a lot. It's not going to be 30. It's not even going to be 10K. It's going to be below 10K for sure. And it's 10 months. And so. But yeah, that's it. That's a soft end of the webinar. But we haven't announced this properly yet. So whoever's still watching, you're here first. You're the first one to know. Yeah. All right, sweet.
Yep.
Well,
yep.
That's it. Thanks, everybody, for joining. See you guys.
Thanks, everyone. Yep. See you next week if you want to see a preview of Bubble Bomb.
Yeah. All right. Bye.
Okay. Bye.